So we're going to start with the features of the bone. So things on the bone that are kind of unique. And so it'll name, on the questions on the practical, we'll say like name this feature, name this structure on the bone. Depends on who makes the practical. I usually say name the feature, but some of the other professors might say name the structure on the bone. So you'll notice on the parietal bone, there's nothing for you to name, but on the occipital bone and the frontal bone, there's several things. So this video is just going to go over the 3 features on the occipital bone and the 3 features on the frontal bone. So let's start with the occipital bone. That's the one in the back of your head. And so in order to see these features, the first 2 features, you actually have to look at the bottom of the skull, the base of the skull. And so you'll notice there's this really large hole. So the word for hole is foramen. Foramen is a large hole. And what goes through foramens are either blood vessels or nerves. So anybody want to take a guess what goes through this? You do have lots of blood vessels and things going through, but your spinal cord, right? And so this is a really large hole for your spinal cord to go through. So this is your foramen magnum. So if you were writing a list, I would say magnum, magnum meaning big. So that's that large hole. If I were writing myself a note on that things to study thing, I would say the large hole at the base of the skull. Most students don't miss the foramen magnum, but that's going to help us find some other features. So do you see these little flaps? It almost looks like little flaps around this hole. They're a smooth part. This is known as a condyle, and a condyle is where 2 bones are going to articulate. Articulate means join together, and so the 2 bones, anytime 2 bones usually will join like this, you will have an articulation, and so you'll see a condyle. What sits on here is your C1 vertebra, and it allows you to shake your head, and in lab I'll show you this. Well, this is a condyle, so that one's a condyle as well, and this is on the occipital bone, so these are occipital condyles. So if I were writing myself a note, I might say the little flaps around the big hole. Those are the occipital condyles. All right. So now I'm still on that occipital bone, and so I'm looking here on the back of your head, and we're on the outside, and if you feel on the back of your head, you kind of feel this bump, and so this little bump here is for your skin and stuff to attach. It's got to have some sort of attachment point there, and it kind of protrudes out. And don't be afraid if you have more than one of these, because it is normal for you to have maybe more than one. Most people just have one, but it doesn't matter. So this is your external, because it's on the outside. Occipital, because it's on the occipital bone. And it's protruding, so it's called protuberance. This is on your things to study, so I would have you, I know I'm writing in this pink that might not be really easy to see. Let's look at these 3 then. So we just went over the foramen magnum, occipital condyles, external occipital protuberance. So now we're going to do your frontal bone. We've got 3 things that we're going to look at here, and we're actually going to pick up one that's on your maxilla bone just because it ties with these really well. All right, so let's look at our skull here. So I already said that a hole is a foramen. The foramen magnum is the only time you're going to see the word foramen listed first. Every other word that you have, foramen will be the second one. So first off, do you see this hole right there? There's a hole there and a hole there. And so this is your eye socket, your orbital. And so would this make sense as this is a supra, which means superior, above, orbital, foramen. This is your supra orbital, that's one word, foramen. We will label on our thing in just a moment. Supra orbital foramen. The little hole, that is for nerves to help control, you raising your eyebrows and stuff like that. So do you notice this down here? I'll show you where this is on your things to study. So there's two that are lower than the eyeball here, and these are going to control some of your cranial nerves, allow them to get out and control some of your facial movements here. So these holes are your infraorbital foramen. Those are the hole below the eyes. The hole above the eye is the supraorbital foramen. And then if I took my hand and there's this really smooth area kind of just right there going along the edge, kind of going all the way around, but we usually tag it there. So right there, that is well, let's don't tag it there. So right there, that is still supraorbital because it's above, but this is not a hole, so this is the margin. So supraorbital margin, supraorbital foramen, infraorbital foramen, and then the last feature is right in this feature here. If I said you had a unibrow, where would that be? Well, that'd be right here. So right there, that is called the glabella, and it is right there where the two bones are kind of meeting up there. Okay, so you got your glabella there. Glabella is right there. All right, let's label those on. There's the infraorbital foramen. It's on the maxilla bone, so we will have already done that one when we get to the maxilla bone video. So let's just label this right here. So right here would be your glabella. And then I'm going to put a hole there and a hole there. That is your supraorbital foramen. And then right here, that smooth there is your supraorbital margin. This guy's going to be all marked up when we get done. And then let's put these holes here. They're actually in the maxilla bone. So I'm going to circle it, and I'm running out of room. So this is the infraorbital foramen. All right, those are our features on our frontal and our occipital bone. See you on the next video.